I chose the Canon EOS C50 over my R5 C, and here is why. Can it replace my trusted workhorse? For 5 years, one camera has followed me everywhere. I mean everywhere. Weddings, documentaries, YouTube, even events. That camera is the EOS R5 C. But the camera only earns that place when it survives real pressure. Things such as low light, autofocus, long shooting days. And today, I am putting the EOS C50 through my go-to camera challenge. Because the real question isn't whether the C50 is good. It is whether it is good enough that I stop thinking about camera altogether. So if you care about real-world camera challenges, not spec sheet reviews, please subscribe and help me reach 10,000 subscribers. That's my goal. Because today, I am asking something serious. Could the Canon EOS C50 replace my go-to camera for all occasions? This is not a spec review. This is a go-to camera challenge. Why this challenge matters, you may ask. If you are a hybrid creator, or you're stepping into cinema EOS world for the first time, you already feel this tension. Mirrorless cameras promise flexibility. Cinema camera promise reliability. But very few cameras promise both. And here is the problem. Spec don't tell you which camera you will reach for when the pressure is real. They don't tell you which camera you trust when you don't get second take. So before features, before codecs, before resolutions, we need to talk about trust. Because without trust, nothing else matters. And trust begins with one thing. Chapter 2, Autofocus, the Trust Challenge. AF benchmark, the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. The first place trust is earned or lost is autofocus. And if I have to babysit focus, the camera is already failing. Before I talk about how the C50 feels, we need a reference point. And right now, Canon's autofocus benchmark is the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. That's where Canon pushed subject detections, eye tracking, and reliability as far as they currently go. So I am not using it here to compete. I am using it here to ask one question. Does the EOS C50 feel close enough to Canon's best that autofocus stop being a concern? In real shooting, walking to a camera, changing directions, mixed lighting, the C50 doesn't feel like a step back. It feels like the same intelligence adapted to a cinema body. I wasn't checking focus, I was checking framing. And when autofocus disappeared from your mind, that's when you know it passed the challenge. So what gives me more confidence is Canon histories with firmware update. Autofocus on Canon cameras doesn't stand still. It improves over time. And based on how close this already feels, I wouldn't be surprised if after 2 or 3 firmware updates, the EOS C50 is right there with the R5 Mark II in real-world autofocus performance. But autofocus alone can't save a shot if the image breaks the moment light gets difficult. So the next challenge, it is unavoidable. Chapter 3, Low Light Reality Check. What happens when the light doesn't cooperate? Low light isn't about shooting in the dark. It is about protecting skin tones when the job doesn't stop and conditions aren't ideal. For years, the low light reference has been the Sony A7S III, hand down. That's what the S stands for, sensitivity. So again, I'm not using it to compete. I am using it as a hard stick. In real environment, street lighting, practical lights, mixed color, temperature, the Sony still sees deeper in the shadows. That is the strength, right? But here is what surprised me. The EOS C50 holds color better, skin tones stay more natural, highlight roll off more gently, and for real work, I rather lift shadows than repair broken colors. Now there is one important thing I discovered while shooting in low light. If you simply dial up to the second best ISO using the ISO wheel, the image will look noisier, even though the number on screen look correct. That's because the camera isn't actually switching to the true second best ISO. So to activate the real best ISO, you need to select it from the menu, or you can assign it to a custom button. Otherwise, you are just recording at the normal ISO value, not the true best ISO. Once I set it correctly, the noise behavior completely changed and the image made much more sense. So, no, the C50 isn't trying to beat the A7S III. The real question is simpler. Does low light still feel like a limitation? And for the work I do, it doesn't. Which brings us to endurance. If you're still watching till now, let me ask you something. If you had to choose, would you prioritize 8K resolutions or 7K open gate flexibility? One more question. Which Canon camera do you want me to compare with the EOS C50 in one of my next videos? Canon EOS C80, Canon EOS C400, Canon EOS R5 C, Canon EOS R6 Mark III. Let me know in the comment because your answer shaped the next go-to camera challenge. Chapter 4, Battery Life, the Endurance Challenges. That choice becomes very real once the shoot stretch on. Battery life is something Canon has clearly been improving over time. In my own comparison between the R5 C and the R5 Mark II, the R5 C actually lasted longer, around 1 hour and 35 minutes. So I wanted to see what the EOS C50 would do under real pressure. I put it through a long recording challenge at 7K open gate, and it recorded continuously for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Honestly, I was expecting less. And the fact that it lasted this long at this resolution tell me endurance is no longer a weakness here. But endurance alone doesn't make a camera professional, right? For that, it has to survive real production's expectations. Chapter 4.5, Audio, the Silence Challenges. Audio rarely shows up in image test, but in real work, it matters. With the R5 C, good audio often means adapters and extra cables. With the EOS C50, audio feels like it belongs. Full-size XLR inputs, physical controls, and proper top handles. I plug in microphone and I move on. No menu diving, no adapter hanging off the side. Clean audio isn't a bonus. It is the difference between usable footage and lost footage. And this is where workflow starts to matter more than expected. Chapter 5, Pro Workflow, the Professional Challenge. Placed next to Canon Cinema Flagship, the Canon EOS C400, with more dynamic range, internal variable ND filter, a true productions camera, the Canon EOS C50 does not have internal variable ND filter. And yes, it matters, right? But here what changed the conversation. The EOS C50 can dual record. One, a full-frame master file, and at the same time, a cropped version ready for social media. Capture in camera simultaneously. No second camera, no extra rig, no workaround. And as far as I know, no other cinema camera does it right now. If yes, do let me know in the comment box below. And this way, status stop mattering and workflow win the challenge. Which brings us to the final decision. Chapter 6, go-to camera decision. Would I replace my trusted workhorse? When I strip everything back and look at how I truly work, the answer becomes clear. 7K open gate, more flexibility than 8K crop. Canon Mark II, better highlight, retention and grading room. Dual recording, long form and social media at the same time. Autofocus, confident enough to disappear. Audio and ergonomic proper to handle full XLR input. Yes, the R5 C gives me 8K, but when I look at the reliability, workflow, and confidence, I choose the Canon EOS C50. Not because it has more spec, but because it wins the go-to camera challenge for the way I actually work. The best camera isn't the one with the highest resolution. It is the one you trust when the job is real. If this go-to camera challenge helps you think more clearly, subscribe and help me reach 10,000 subscribers. I don't do spec sheet reviews here. I put camera through real-world challenges. Now, tell me in the comment, which Canon camera should I challenge next? My friend, may God bless and protect you. God willing, I will chat to you in my next video. As always, Hakuna Matata, my friend. Bye.